Hi there, this is K4A, Knowledge for All educational videos channel. We are continuing with learning Scratch and learning Scratch elements, and in this video we are going to learn what is coordinate system in Scratch. Okay, let's go to Scratch to see that in action. In first video we have learned what the stage is, in second what the sprite is, and in this one let's see what the coordinate system is. To do that, first of all let's change this backdrop. Backdrop is image picture of our stage, which is used to represent our stage, our background for stage. We haven't learned that in this tutorial series, but let's learn it now. I will explain that in detail, but for now just go on, select first the stage maybe, and then this button here, choose the backdrop, and then you will see a library of Scratch backdrops. As I said, those are images which are used for your environment, for your stage, like background picture. They are not interactive, but they are making your game looking better. And for this video, because we are explaining what coordinate system is, I'm going to pick one of those three last backdrops, or to be more precise, third from the bottom, which says XY grid. Okay, so click on it to open it, and we can see immediately on our stage that screen has changed from blank white to some grid. Okay, I will select Sprite 1, the cat, just for a second to hide it, and you can do that by clicking on this icon, eye icon, which is crossed, which says hide, and cat will be hidden for a while. Then go back on the stage again, and let's examine what do we have here. We have two straight line crossing each other, the blue one which goes from top to bottom and which says Y, it is blue one, and we have some orange line which says X on its right, and it goes from left to right. If you remember the first lesson on the stage, about the stage, I told you that the stage has is wide, it has width about 480 pixels, and as you can see here, this orange line, orange X coordinate axis, goes from minus 240 to plus 240. And if you remember those buttons here on the top right, the one which says full screen control, I will click on it just to zoom everything so we can see everything clearer now. And you can see orange goes from minus 240 to 240, and it's always 0 for the Y, and the Y axis goes from bottom minus 180 to plus 180. That means that it goes 360 pixels, that this stage is 360 pixels tall and 480 pixels wide. So what this coordinate system is used for? We can see that this is some kind of a grid, and it looks nice. We have some numbers, but we still don't understand what this is used for. Well, coordinate system, and that means not only Scratch, but in other game engines or in mathematics in general, is used to show a precise position of something in space. In Scratch, this coordinate system, because we have two axes, x and y represents 2D, two-dimensional space. That means you have two axes, x and y, and in some games you have 3 dimensions, x, y and z, but in Scratch you have only x and y, so you can make only 2D games by default. And now let's see in some example how to see that in action. This cat, I will show it again here by clicking on this eye icon. This cat is not the best for what I want to show. Why? Because it's a complex drawing illustration. So if for example, if I have asked you where is the point which represent the center of the cat, some of you would tell it's on its feet, some of you would tell it's in his belly, some of you guys would tell it's on his head, in his eye, and so on. So there is no precise point on which we can agree that represents the center of the cat. So that's why I will hide it again, and I will pick some other illustration, some other sprite which will be better for this example. I will do that by clicking on this choose a sprite button, which will open library of sprites, and I want to find some small and precise element illustration sprite, like a ball or yeah, this one is good, button 1, the green one. I will pick that one. It will open it in my window on my stage. The problem I have is that this sprite is still too big, so I will click on this size here button field, and instead of 100 I will type some lower value, like 25 maybe. Yeah, this is much better now. I will zoom this stage again just to show you. If you see where these two lines crosses, they cross each other in some position which says 0, 0, x 0, y 0. That is coordinate beginning. I don't know what's the word for it in English, but it's zero. Coordinates of that beginning are 0, 0. And if you see this, when I select this green button which we have imported, it has two fields here above it, x and y, and those numbers we can see. For example, if the green button is in for example, if it's in left bottom of the stage, x will be minus and epsilon would be minus. But if I push it to the top left, now the epsilon is, or y is in plus and x is in minus. Same goes for here. If I push it to the top right, both the x and y will be in plus, and if I put it in the bottom right, y would be in minus. And every time I change the position of this green button on my stage, you can see how numbers here for x and y changes. Why is that? Well, that is because the x and y in our coordinate system changes for this button, and this is how Scratch represents it. It is represented by x and y coordinate numbers, so you can see x and y coordinates of any of your sprites for any time, and you can change them by typing them here, or you can change them by dragging and dropping the sprite here on the stage. For example, if I want my character to be in the center, in the middle of the stage, what do I have to type here? 0 0, right? So let's see what will happen when I type 0 0. The green button should snap to the center of the stage. Yeah, that's right. And if I want for example, if I want this green button to go 100 pixels to the right, that means I want this sprite to change its X position. Let's type X 100 and it will go 100 pixels to the right. If I type 200, it will go again a little bit more to the right, and so on. If I type, for example, 260, let's see if it will go out of the screen. No. Why? Because our stage is only 480 pixels wide, so it's 240 to the right and minus 240 to the left. Let's try again with typing some bigger number, 500. No, it resets me to 240. Okay, let's see if I can go to the top more than 180. Let's see, let's try 190. No, it snaps me to 179. So again, you can move your characters only on this space here, which is represented with the coordinate system, from minus 240 to the left to 240 to the right, and from the minus 180 on the bottom to 180 to the top. And for every movement, for every change of the position, your X and Y values, numbers will change for that sprite, so you can see that here below the stage. Why is this important, and why is the position of sprite important? Well, for some games it isn't, but for some games it's very, very important. For example, if you want to make a racing game and so on, so you will have to know what the position is of the sprite, where it is. Did this sprite cross this finishing line or so on? Or for example, if I have like if I'm making, for example, a chess game or some board game, I want, for example, my cat to snap onto some kind of square, like a chess square or some board game square, and I will have to code it and program it by changing its position in really, really precise movements. So I don't want my for example, I don't want my chess piece to be able to stay between two chess fields, board fields, like this. No, I just want it to be either on this one or this one, not between them. So you have to program it very, very precise, and for those kind of games or movements you have to use coordinate system, and you have to use these coordinate numbers, and we will see that in next tutorials and next videos. But for now on, just be aware what coordinate system is. It's a definition of your space in Scratch by two axes, X and Y, and both of them define the space and position of sprites in your game, and that's it. And I will link again the Scratch Wikipedia on coordinate system, so you can read more about it, but more or less that's it. And the best way to learn it is to make games, and the blocks which we will use to manipulate our sprites in coordinate system are these blue motion blocks, because you can already see they have X and change X, set X, change Y, set Y, and so on. So that's how you change these numbers here and change the position of the sprites in coordinate system, but we will see that in action in later videos. For this lesson, I think this is more than necessary to learn what coordinate system is, and I hope you will keep on learning and scratching yourself, and see you in next videos. Bye for now.